Good afternoon, students. Welcome back again to my YouTube video lecture. It has been quite long since we had last discussed things from grammar, basically preposition. And this session, I will again take you back to the world of poetry, which remains my favorite domain, favorite field. And today, this session, I have for you one of the most popular poems of all times. Well, when I say about one of the most popular poems, definitely I indicate to a poem which is most read, most preferred, and it's a remarkable poem written by William Wordsworth. And generally, when we speak of William Wordsworth, most of us, most of the students must have heard his name during his or her school days. So today, I have for you guys a remarkable poem, an eternal poem, an immortal poem, that is Daffodils. Must have heard about this poem. You know, when this word comes to our mind, when daffodils, this particular word, okay, comes to our mind, we think of nature, the beauty of nature shines in all its glory. So, today we shall have an analysis of this poem. Basically, we shall have the background to this poem. We shall have a few stanzas discussed, right? So, it will be a joy to discuss this poem. It will be a pleasure. So I will discuss line by line so that you can feel the pulse of the poem, feel the sense of the poem. So first of all, daffodils. Daffodils, as we all know, are a flower. They are basically a golden yellow colored flower in the shape of bells. And when you think of daffodils, we imagine in front of us a valley or a countryside, or it might be near a lake, near a riverbed. Okay, such places are generally very much suitable for daffodils to bloom. So daffodils bloom in pristine and pure nature, right, in wild nature, and wherever daffodils have bloomed, well, the natural beauty of that place has an added charm. So today we shall have for our discussion those daffodils. So what I said, daffodils are a bright yellow, rich yellow flowers which grow near water bodies, basically in valleys, in hills. Okay, so in this poem, Wordsworth has given us an insight into the impact of nature on mind, right? So let's think of the first stanza. I wander lonely as a cloud. Let me write. I wander lonely as a cloud. So this is the first line of the poem. Well, I, the poet himself, wander, moved aimlessly here and there, lonely. The poet was all alone. He was feeling extremely lonely. He was in abject loneliness. Well, as a cloud, comparison. So, in the first line itself, the poet makes a comparison. Well, you can say the poet relates himself to a piece of cloud. So, I wonder, where was the poet wandering? So, basically, the area where the poet was wandering should be the lake districts of England. So, lake districts, as we all know, is a place in England which abounds with, nature. Okay, It's a place of remarkable natural beauty, and most of Wordsworth's poems, have been inspired by the natural beauty of lake districts. That should be remembered. So, obviously, the poet was taking a walk. This is the background of the poem I am giving you. The first line should be discussed in the context of the background of the poem. So, once the poet was taking a walk, taking a leisurely walk, you can say, in the lake districts of England. Basically, okay. Well, the poet was moving here and there aimlessly. And how he was moving here and there? Like a piece of cloud. Like a lonely piece of cloud, second line, that floats on high over vales and hills. Vales, V-A-L-E-S. Vales. Well, so the poet was wandering just as a piece of cloud, just as a lonely piece of cloud that sails high on the sky, that too over hills and valleys. So one thing is to be remembered, the poet was as lonely as a solitary piece of cloud, right? So here, loneliness has been given priority. So the poet was feeling lonely for sure. Okay, well, as lonely as, again I repeat, as lonely as a solitary, a lone piece of cloud which floats, which sails high up in the sky, that too over hills and valleys below. Exactly, in the same way, Wordsworth was moving, roaming, wandering, whatever you can say, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Here some words have been used. Crowd. Well, then a host of golden daffodils, a host. So one thing is to be given priority. When the poet was wandering alone, then suddenly what happened? He came across, he came across a wild bunch of daffodils. Here it is given. When all at once, suddenly, the poet saw a crowd, a group, a huge gathering, a host. A host may also mean the same thing. Group, gathering, assemblage, of golden daffodils. So meaning is simple. When the poet was wandering alone, feeling the force of loneliness inside him, the poet was feeling, companionless. Then suddenly what happened? Crowd of golden daffodils, cut his sight. I think before coming across this wild gathering of golden daffodils, the poet was feeling lonely. But as soon as he came across these golden daffodils, I don't think he felt lonely anymore. His loneliness must have disappeared, must have vanished all of a sudden. That's why the word host might have been used here also. As we know, host also means one who treats guests. So here the poet takes daffodils as companion. That's why he addresses them as a host. And if daffodils will be host, if daffodils will play host, then the poet will surely be guest. So that might be another explanation given for the word host too. Remember? Now come to daffodils. Where exactly had they bloomed and how were they reacting when the poet saw them? In the last two lines of the first stanza, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the bridge. Look at the word fluttering, F-L-U-T-T-E-R-I-N-G, fluttering and dancing. So the daffodils had bloomed by the side of a lake. One thing, the daffodils had bloomed in large number by the side of a lake, that too, well, beneath trees, under trees. It might be okay, come to the lake, okay. By the side of the lake means, well, obviously referring to, the bank of the lake. Well, that means the daffodils, have formed, you can say, a border. The daffodils have formed a border to that lake. By the side of the lake means obviously referring to the bank of the lake. Well, where the daffodils have bloomed. So, in other words, we can say that the daffodils, this large number of daffodils, okay, which are stretching, along the bank of the lake, have surely formed a border to the lake. Again, they have bloomed under trees. So, where are the trees? The trees are also equally, on the bank of the lake. So, when the poet says beside the lake, under the trees or beneath the trees, it means the daffodils have bloomed, well, on the lake's bank. Well, that too, under the trees. That means the trees are too on the bank of the lake. Well, fluttering and dancing in the bridge. Now, how the daffodils are behaving? They are fluttering, flutter. Flutter is exactly, it may refer to motion, it may refer to sound. When particularly a winged insect, well, flies very near to your ear, it produces an indistinct sound, okay, a faint sound, that is fluttering. And flutter may also refer to and fro motion, right? So when the poet saw the daffodils were making such motion, to and fro motion, okay, right, left to right, right to left again. Well, they appeared like dancing, they appeared like, fully active, fully vivacious, right? So here the poet takes the daffodils as dancers, right? Dancers. Well, for the poet, the daffodils, well, they don't appear merely as flowers. They appear lively, L-I-V-E-L-Y. They appear, something different from ordinary flowers. What I said, they appear lively, well, they appear active, they appear, filled with life. That's why the poet, well, uses the word dancing for the daffodils. So, it is purely personification. Personification, as we know, it's a poetic device. Well, so here the poet, well, had injected the qualities of dancer in the daffodils. That's all. So daffodils appear totally different, and the poet, okay, picturizes daffodils from a different dimension. Okay, well, coming over to the next stanza. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line. Well, second stanza. The poet continues to sing the beauty of the daffodils. The poet here, glorifies the daffodils. He is so charmed. He is so, fascinated by these rich yellow golden daffodils. Now, in the second stanza, the poet makes a comparison between the daffodils and stars in the Milky Way. Here, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. This traced in never-ending line. Key word is, I will start from the third line of this stanza to, give a proper explanation to you. Okay. So, this traced in never-ending line. Stretched. I have already spoken about this. S-T-R-E-T-C-H. They stretched. I mean, the golden daffodils. Okay. That have bloomed by the lake. How they have bloomed in an unending line. Okay, just before some time while discussing the first stanza, I had told you that daffodils are just like a border. If you take the lake as a sari, okay, what is a sari? The daffodils are forming a border to that, sari like lake. Okay, again, the daffodils are, outstretching. I mean, they have gone on blooming and blooming by the lake that the poet never finds, okay, the end of this continuous stretch of blooming daffodils. So, this stretched in never-ending line, never-ending, infinite, kabhi bhi khatam nahi hone wala line. Okay, in this way, the daffodils have bloomed along the side of the lake. The poet does not find, or the poet never finds any limit to the blooming daffodils. Well, continuous as the stars that shine. Again, first thing is that the poet sees no limit of the daffodils. They have bloomed in a long line, okay, forming a border to the lake. Second thing, they are so bright, they are so shiny that the poet has compared these daffodils to the countless stars that are found in the galaxy or in the Milky Way. Milky Way, as you know, Milky Way is stellar constellation, a group of stars. Here, the daffodils are so many in numbers that are uncountable, just like the uncountable stars found in the Milky Way or stellar constellations or in the galaxy. So many similarities. We can have an easy interpretation of this. First thing, stars are uncountable. Okay, I mean here on the one hand stars are uncountable, on the other hand daffodils. Okay, stars are luminous, bright, so also daffodils. Third thing, the stars are, millions in number. You cannot pick, you cannot choose, you cannot identify a single star out of those millions and millions of stars. It can be applied in case of the daffodils. So, to summarize or to sum up all these things, the daffodils have bloomed, okay, in such a large number, and the daffodils are so shiny, so bright that the poet relates the daffodils to the stars, countless stars in the Milky Way that always twinkle, that always shine, that are always uncountable. So, think of the similarities. On the one hand, the daffodils, have stretched themselves in an unending line. On the other hand, stars are uncountable. Again come to daffodils. The daffodils are shiny. Rich golden yellow. On the other hand, the stars keep on twinkling and twinkling. That's why the relationship between the between the daffodils and the stars. Next two lines, they stressed in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. Look at along the margin of a bay. Margin of a bay. When we think of bay, such a structure is called bay normally. Bay is a structure. Bay is, you can say, a semi-circular structure formed by water body. any water body. Here is a lake. So basically, I mean, we have already discussed that these daffodils have bloomed by the side of a lake. So particularly, you can say, where exactly have they bloomed? They have exactly bloomed in such a shape where the lake has such a bank. I mean, you can say the bank is curvy where the daffodils have bloomed. That's why the poet has said, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. Margin means border. Margin means shoreline. Okay, so, I mean, the daffodils have gone on blooming and blooming. Well, in such shape, in such a curvy shape, which can be called bay, which has been formed by the lake. Well, 10,000, next two lines, 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. Look at 10,000 saw I. It will be I saw. I saw 10,000 daffodils at a glance. Is it possible? Is it possible? Can anyone see 10,000 flowers? Well, at a single glance. Glance, you know, a single look. Single look, fleeting look. Can it be possible? So, definitely, here, a particular term will be used, which we call hyperbole. Hyperbole is again a poetic weapon, poetic device. So here the poet has exaggerated things. Come to the word exaggerated. Exaggerated. Exaggerated means बड़ा चौड़ा के लिखना. यहाँ पर पोएट जरूर बड़ा चौड़ा के लिख रहे हैं जब वो बोलते हैं कि एक ही नजर में मैंने 10,000 डैफोडिल्स को देखा. यहाँ पर 10,000, you know, literally 10,000, but you know, it will mean अनगिनत डैफोडिल्स, अनकाउंटेबल डैफोडिल्स. तो एक ही नजर में पोइट अनगिनत डैफोडिल्स को देख रहे हैं. इसका दूसरा पहलू भी है, बिकॉज द डैफोडिल्स आई हैव रिपीटेडली interpreted time and again, the daffodils have bloomed in a wild number, in a large number. Okay, they have bloomed in a wild assemblage, in a wild gathering, just like the stars in the Milky Way. One cannot count these daffodils. I mean, they are so dense, right? They have bloomed in such a dense manner that they are uncountable. Exactly. So, when the poet says, 10,000 saw I at a glance, well, it means the poet saw innumerable daffodils, well, uncountable daffodils in a single glance. It means the daffodils are so large in number, so uncountable in number, you can say, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. Sprightly. S-P-R-I-G-H-T-L-Y, sprightly, lively. You can say चुस्तिले, फुर्तिले, जिंदा दिल. तो जब पोएट उनको देखे, वो क्या कर रहे थे? In the first stanza, we had discussed two words. What were they? Fluttering and dancing. Fluttering, I had clearly told you, to and fro motion. So in this two, when daffodils are making to and fro motion, at some point they are straight. Now come to this. Now they are in this position, and when they are coming to this level, they are exactly straight. मानो कि अपना सर उठा उठा के नाच रहे हैं daffodils. एक है, फिर आया इस तरफ, फिर तो tossing मतलब raising. So daffodils are dancing, raising their heads, jerking their heads, well, packed with life, filled with life, vivaciously, well, you can say energetically, vigorously. तो पोइट मजा ले रहे हैं. ये daffodils अपना सर उठा उठा के नाच रहे हैं, चुस्तिले तरीके से, फुर्तिले तरीके से. पोइट को बहुत ही मजा आ रहा है. That is the thing. So this last line, tossing their heads in sprightly dance, it means Well, the poet is really energized. एक तो पहले poet lonely थे, उनके अंदर की again he was feeling dull, again he was feeling slack. तो poet की अंदर जो सारा slackness था, dullness था, loneliness था, he was feeling lifeless. लेकिन अभी daffodils को देखने के बाद poet की अंदर भी शायद there was a new awakening. Okay, the poet felt rejuvenated. Well, rejuvenated means the poet के अंदर मान लो कि नए ताकत आ गए, नए एनर्जी आ गए. He felt spirited, he felt renewed vigor वगैरह वगैरह. So when you think of the first and second stanza, well, the first stanza starts with the first stanza starts with a simile. Well, simile. S-I-M-I-L-E, simile. Well, simile. It's a poetic weapon again. Similarity is not that. The poet, assimilates, or the poet simulates himself to a piece of cloud. Poet खुद को compare करते हैं किसके साथ? Well, एक बादल की टुकड़े के साथ. So, again, in the second stanza, the daffodils are compared to stars. The first stanza, the poet himself, the poet compares himself, to a cloud. In the second stanza, the poet compares, the daffodils to uncountable stars. Again, when the poet says 10,000 saw I at a glance, another poetic device, hyperbole, is being used. So this poem, in this poem, lots of series of images are coming. Visual image, you can say daffodils. Okay, cloud, visual image. So we must not focus upon the poetic devices or all those technicalities or all those musicalities in the poem. We should approach the poem in a simple way. Nothing great, right? The poem is remarkable in the sense that it is a simple, charming and a cute and sweet poem. Well, simply, poet felt lonely, but when suddenly he came across the daffodils, all his loneliness disappeared. He felt, energized. He felt a new lease of life inside him. He felt spirited. And the daffodils, basically, the daffodils were dancing, fluttering, fluttering lively. And this particular attitude of the daffodils instilled in the poet a renewed enthusiasm, renewed creativity, a new lease of creativity, you can say. All these things. So I hope you try to understand these first two stanzas this session, and the next session I will try to sum up the following two stanzas. Okay, again I will give you some extra feedback to this poem so that you can perceive better. So let us start with these first two stanzas. We shall have more discussion in my forthcoming video. Until then, focus upon this poem. It is a very major poem. So thank you very much for listening to me. Take care and have a great day. Bye bye.